Señor Philémon Yang, presidente de la Asamblea General, a dirigirse a la conferencia.
Your Majesty, the King of Spain, Your Excellency, President of the Government of Spain, esteemed heads of state and government, United Nations Secretary General António Guterres, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor to address the 4th International Conference on Financing for Development. I thank the government and people of Spain for hosting us in Seville. Despite the challenges the world faces, we meet today at a determining point in our history. Both the United Nations, now in its 80th year, and for the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, which is central to achieving the United Nations' most foundational aims. We are at a unique moment to take the actions necessary to realize our aspirations. We have both challenges and opportunities. First and foremost, we need to renew our trust in multilateralism with the United Nations as its center. And secondly, we must lay the necessary groundwork to fully achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. And to do so, we need the political will of all of us gathered here today. Global solidarity across peoples and nations, the financial resources that exist and can be channeled towards progress. But above all, we need leadership. We need leadership to guide us forward into a brighter, more prosperous future for everyone, everywhere. This is what this conference is about. Your Excellencies, we are now just 5 years away from the 2030 deadline to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. Yet, the gap to finance them remains vast. Global financing needs have grown dramatically since 2015. This is especially true for developing countries which require $4.2 trillion annually to close the financing gap. These developing countries are walking a tightrope between defaulting on debts, defaulting on their efforts to achieve sustainable development, and defaulting on the promise to provide acceptable standards of living to their people. The consequences are serious. 3.3 billion people live in countries that spend more on debt service than on health or education. Without urgent action, our promise to leave no one behind will remain unfulfilled. Your Excellencies, we cannot afford to lower our ambitions. The Pact for the Future, adopted in September 2024 by heads of state, commits us to closing the financing gap in developing countries. In tandem, the Compromiso de Sevilla and the Sevilla Platform for Action set a framework for renewed global partnership for the decade to come. Going forward, we must focus on the debt burdens which are derailing countries from their future or from the future they deserve. Reform of the international financial architecture, as called for in the Pact for the Future, and reinforced in the Compromiso, presents options for creating more sustainable debt environments. The creation of a 25th chair at the International Monetary Fund dedicated to sub-Saharan Africa is a very welcome step. But more must be done. We must strengthen the voice and representation of developing countries, not as beneficiaries, but as equal partners in shaping their destinies and in shaping our future. We must enhance fiscal space and lower the cost of capital. Expensive capital makes it very difficult for developing countries. And we must strengthen cooperation on international tax matters. These efforts must include the finalization of a United Nations Framework Convention on International Tax Cooperation. An important aspect of this convention is to tackle illicit financial flows which deprive developing countries of about $88 billion annually. Throughout our efforts, scaling up climate finance will be critical to our success. Climate funds must be additional to, rather than diverted from other development priorities. Projections show developing countries need more than $1 trillion annually to build resilience. Each member state has something to contribute, whether financing and partnerships, capacity building, or even best practices. To this end, I urge member states to follow through in providing 0.7% of national income as official development assistance. This target was exceeded by only 4 countries last year, namely Denmark, Luxembourg, Norway, and Sweden. I call on others to match this level of commitment. If fulfilled, these funds could translate into fewer people going hungry in a world of plenty, fewer people lacking access to education amid a revolution in online learning, and fewer people falling behind in the global pursuit of progress. Your Excellencies, it is time to keep our promises. Let us ensure that Seville is remembered for what was set in motion: collective action to provide additional, innovative, adequate, affordable, predictable, and accessible financing for development from all sources, including the private sector. In fact, we have no shortage of solutions. Let us leave this conference ready to act together with hope, with ambition, and with the leadership that this moment demands. Thank you.
Doy las gracias al presidente de la Asamblea General por su declaración y ahora invito al excelentísimo señor Bob Wright, presidente del Consejo Económico y Social, a dirigirse a la conferencia.